Hello, I'm back again. Now this time hopefully it's gonna work and all will be well. My guest is having some screen problems yet again. But I can see her space, so I'm sure she'll be back in a second. My guest is AKOSUA BAME. She is an alumnus of London's prestigious Imperial College Business School and a member of Middle Temple Inn of Court, UK. Currently undergoing barrister law training, while simultaneously pursuing her PhD studies in entrepreneurship. She's a founder and managing director of AKOSUA Limited, a management consultancy practice specializing in new business incubation and development and large-scale organizational transformations. AKOSUA BAME has a lot of accolades, and she's a pioneering owner of the mindset revolution concept, which is thought mastery, coaching, and mentoring programs. She has been here before. She has talked about women not being other women's enemies. We disagreed on it, and we had quite a riveting discussion about it, because I am convinced. I do have friends, and I said that to her. I said, I have friends that will fight for, and I have friends who have my back, and they're always with me all along the way. However, new people can creep into your life and wreck your life and mess it up, and it's crazy. So we had a chat about it, and if you haven't seen it, I think it's on one of my YouTube pages. You can look for it and have a look at that discussion, but it was interesting. And today she's back with another. All of this discussion we had the last time was in a book she'd written. It was still Mindset Revolution, and it was about how we shouldn't use that gender thing to belittle each other and say, oh, women are like this or women are like that, or men are like this or the other. And she felt that even if we were, we can change it. It's all in our mindset. Now, she's back again, but this time we are looking at Africa. And everyone who has the melanin, this color that I have, like there are lighter versions, there are darker versions. We're all melanated people. We all came from Africa. Now we are here working for people. We are misaligned, misunderstood, maltreated, abused, and used. Now, she believes that we can go back to Africa and change with a change mindset and rebuild Africa and make it our own and live in it to be the envy of the Western world. Now, this I will not argue with her about. But I ask you, have you wondered, how are we going to do that? How? Sunday, 3 Black footballers, the best we have in Europe, in England. They played, they took us all the way to the finals of the football. They scored, they dribbled, they did whatever they could to get us there. And when they missed the penalties, they became monkeys. They were abused. Their pictures were defaced. My issue is this. If you take away just the football This happens in our workplaces. This happens in our communities. This happens on our roads. And I'll tell you something, my people. I live on a road. I think there are only two black families who live on my road in London, the road that I live on. And every time I come home, someone has parked in front of my house, not in my bay, but in front of my house on the road. Now, I go and park somewhere else, it's okay. But then, this is before the pandemic, and I used to come home sometimes from the radio station. My slot is from 10 till 11 or 9 till 11. That's my slot. When I used to go to the radio station before the pandemic. And I came home one day, I was sick. I had a cold, a cough. I wasn't feeling well. I get to my house and my neighbors 3 roads down had parked in front of my house. And I got quite cross. So I parked off the curb, still in front of my house, but partly off the curb. And my neighbor called the traffic warden. She called the traffic warden office to come and give me a ticket. Yes. And the traffic warden came and was putting the ticket on my car. When the children in the neighborhood who were standing outside saw it and started screaming, the children. So my son went out to see what was happening, and there was this traffic warden. Why are you doing this? There are cars parked everywhere. There's nowhere to park. And he said the neighbor called him in their office to come and give me a ticket. I was not in anybody's way. It was off. So you see the thing? Meanwhile, the reason why I'm telling you this is because people do this all the time and no one got a ticket. I took it upon myself. We have a neighborhood WhatsApp. So I called them. I wrote in the WhatsApp and said they were curtain twitchers. They were evil people. This is supposed to be a neighborhood where we were friendly and liked each other. People park off the curb all the time and no one got a ticket. And I have been told that it was a neighbor who called them. They know that there was no need. My area is residential and there was no need for a traffic warden to come down this road. They hadn't been on my road before. So this traffic warden told me the truth and I told them and came off the WhatsApp group. And before I did that, I told them what I felt about them. I told them they were racist, they were evil. Now, the they was said, but I was talking to the carpenter concerning the mason. Yes. Now, put that in your mind for this discussion, because it is because of these things that we need to rethink where we are, what we are doing, and what the future lies for our children. I read the book, as I told you, the people who were watching it earlier. And this book is called Mindset Revolution. A revolution is a big thing. It is a whole change. A revolution is a fight for change. So, welcome to my show, AKOSUA BAME.
Thanks, Kiki. I don't know, can I quickly check with you? Because I just switched the light off because I'm still getting that grainy look anyway. I don't know whether it looks better darker or it looks better when the lights were on.
You need light in your background so that you can, because you are grainy.
Right, but what I'm saying is I put the light okay, let me put the light on now and tell me whether it looks better. Because previously it still looked grainy. Sorry, guys.
AKOSUA is taking up a lot of our time today.
You prefer that?
I don't know. I think we should ask the audience, whoever is watching this, can you see my guest? And is she grainy? Is she not grainy? What's going on? I know that my hair is all over the place, or so my son says. But I mean, I'm being
Would you
stressed.
prefer? I think I'm going to be grainy regardless, but I think it's a question of whether bright grainy is better than dark grainy. At the moment, it looks like I'm going to be grainy regardless.
Okay. Do people want her to be grainy regardless? I think. Yeah, you are grainy, says Shirley, but grainy regardless is the only way to go. I don't know what we can do. Otherwise, all of this is gonna.
Exactly,
You
it's
are
just
fine.
gonna. Yeah. So
You are fine.
okay.
Okay. Now, as I said, welcome to the show. But we've done this 3 times already. So,
Yeah. Exactly.
so what is the mindset revolution concept, and how did it come about? Because you've written 3 books now on
Yeah.
the mindset. So tell us about it.
Okay. In my day job, I'm a management consultant, and most of what I do is really help organizations transform. And it can be for anything, for changing their products, to changing some internal back office processes. When I was predominantly working with the banking sector, it was led by legislation. So there'll be new legislation and you'd have to actually make some changes. I've worked for organizations that are trying to launch new products, etc. And so I've worked across a range of organizations from different sectors, aviation, health, um, retail, etc. One thing that is common, and it's not something that I'm saying that is new, but large scale transformation, most of them fail. Well over 70% of them fail to achieve the objectives they set out. And the fundamental reason for that is really because we don't change the mindsets of the people involved. I've lost Kiki. I don't know, but I'm
No,
just going to
no,
carry on. Oh, okay.
we can see you. You're the main person. Keep talking.
Okay, then. And so essentially, a lot of organizations invest in change programs. They talk about culture change, but they do not successfully change the mindsets of people. So this is what has been my experience for a while. So that was really what led me into this whole mindset arena. And I've always also had a passion for Ghana, where I originally come from, where Kiki also comes from. I've always had a passion for Ghana and what the potential of that country could be. And then that expanded to really actually what the potential of the continent could be. And one of the things it resonated with me, it made me think that actually we keep talking about various cultures, etc. And what is culture? Culture is the way people think and the way people behave. And it's all down to mindset. So I realized that the issues that we were facing within organizational change is no different to the issues that we're facing within national change. And that took me on the journey of mindset, understanding mindset and how to reprogram one's mindset. And also took me on the journey of really understanding the fundamental problem for Africa, and how we could potentially actually make things different. And I just reached the conclusion that bottom line is we can try and fix infrastructure, we can try and fix all manner of things. If we don't change the mindsets, we will not get sustainable change. And I don't, and then I started exploring where other authors had written stuff, and so on and so forth. So that's really what it came about. And I realized I had to be a revolution. I mean, we've tried revolution in different ways, marching the streets, wars, tribal wars, etc. It's time to try a different kind of revolution. It's time to try and do something about our mindsets. That's where the revolution should happen. And it can't be an evolution, because evolution means we're just going to take our time and hopefully we will get there. We need some radical shift in the way we think. And hence, that's how I came up with Mindset Revolution. It started as a personal journey, but this third book, I mean, the first book is really a self-help book. The second book is for coaches that are really in the mindset arena. But the third book is really about, let's rebuild the Africa we want. And if we want to rebuild the Africa we truly want, there's only one way to go about it. We need to shift our mindsets.
Good.
That's my
Now,
conclusion anyway.
for the layman, what she's saying is it has to be drastic, drastic, drastic change is what we need. And I don't know how, yeah, a revolution, someone in China, they used to say a revolution, Chairman Mao said it, a revolution is not a dinner party. It is not a dinner party. It means it's going to be something drastic, something difficult, something that is going to be, but apart from a war where we fight and kill people to get our way, how do you think we can do this in our mindset to change? I don't know. Can you help?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, there are a number of things, and I guess that's really what the book is about. The key thing is really we need to understand what the mindset is in the first place. The mindset is a belief system. So we have a number of things that we believe. That belief system then actually leads us to act in certain ways. We then get certain results. And then based on the results, they either reinforce the belief or they make us change our beliefs. But most of the time, you find the action will lead to a result that reinforces your belief. And after you've had such reinforced messages for a long time, it becomes set. Hence, we talk about mindset. And it's a collective set of beliefs. So there isn't just one mindset, or there aren't two mindsets. You either have the good mindset or the bad mindset. It's not a dichotomy, because you hold different beliefs for different aspects of your life. We hold different beliefs about relationship. We hold different beliefs about our ability to create wealth. We hold different beliefs about health. We hold different beliefs about knowledge, etc. So the key thing is really understanding having said all that, though, there is an underlying permeating belief system that seems to affect a number of our areas within the African continent. And when I talk about Africa, I'm not talking about just people living on the continent. I'm talking about some of us that are living in the diaspora as well. Basically, all of us of African descent and identity should really identify with this message. There seems to be this permeating underlying mindset, which I call a slavery mindset. And what do I mean by a slavery mindset? The slavery mindset you can't have slavery without two dimensions to it. There's always got to be a master and there's got to be slaves. That's the bottom line. You can't have slavery without slaves, and you can't have slavery without masters. And those two sides of the coin hold different perspective and belief system. So let's try and pick this. What does a slave believe? A slave is not free. They're not free to think. They're not proactive. They are waiting for permission. There is this dependence on the master to give direction and instruction. They feel obliged, beholden, etc. So a slave does not necessarily get up and go. They wait on someone else, a power outside of themselves, to come and give them that instructions. That's a slavery dimension of the mindset that a significant proportion of Africa is living with. There is this perception that the power to do things, to change aspects of our lives, resides outside of ourselves. That's the slave dimension. The master is greedy. The master feels entitled. The master feels like they are the boss. They exploit the vulnerable. I mean, does that sound familiar to you in terms of some of the leadership that we have? That's the master dimension of the slavery mindset operating in that way, and that's really what we are grappling with. Those two dimensions permeate different aspects of our lives and then result in us acting in different ways. So I guess really that's where the underlying issue is. Are you operating from a slave mindset, the slave dimension of the slave mindset? Are you operating from the master dimension of the slave mindset at any particular point in time with particular aspects of your lives? That's a question that we need to ask both at an individual level as well as at a communal level. But this is where, so that's the underlying issue. Okay. So, and so I don't want to call that the African mindset, though. I'm just saying that's the underlying permeating mindset that really then goes into different aspects of how we operate and believe. So that's why we expend even, I mean, for instance, we are always surprised at the leadership not leading in the way we think they should be leading, forgetting that they are actually from the crop. You know, they are all, where do the leaders come from? They come from the population, right? But they are the people within the population that have stuck their head up the parapet because they think, well, no, I don't want to have the slave dimension anymore. I'd rather be the master. So they come in, and they still are coming in from a slavery mindset. So nothing is really fundamentally going to shift. We are
Tilewa,
assuming they've revolutionized their mindset, but they haven't. That's the
well,
issue.
a listener, Tilewa is saying it is more, you are describing our tradition. And, our tradition is not to question, not to, to listen to the master. And it goes on. So the one who comes, as you are saying, from the group, who then becomes the master, he has the idea, but he's still lording it over us. So it's an endless situation. But let's move on. Let's move on because of time. And when I read, I spent a lot of time. People, this is a big book, and
Don't
people,
put them off, Kiki.
no, it is
It's a
full.
small book.
Okay, it is a book, and it is full of so much information. I'm so educated on reading the book, but I'll tell you my favorite chapter. Now, she doesn't have chapters, she has rules. And in it, there is rule 4, and that's for me.
Okay, let
And
me
it
check.
talks
What is
about
rule 4 then?
rule 4 is elevate women's emancipation.
Absolutely.
Elevate women's emancipation. And there it has a quote from Ngugwa Thiong'o, an award-winning,
Yeah.
world-renowned Kenyan author who says, the condition of women in a nation is the real measure of its progress, which then I went to Google her and I read a few things that she said, and it is true. You see, let's talk about Ghana for a second. I come from Ghana. That is my base point. And so every time I'm speaking about Africa, I don't know about much African countries, but I know about Ghana enough to tell you that our economy in Ghana, it is controlled by the women in Makola market. Now, Makola market is where everything happens. Everything is sold, everything from beef to mattress. Everything is sold there. And every type of human is there from all different countries, Nigerians, everybody is there. And all the business and all the money, what happens with our business and everything is there. The women know what time it is. Now, all of this is happening, but women still haven't really, there are women who are educated. It depends on what side of the class system that you're from. And there are women who are doing things. There are women, Chief Justice, etc., etc. There are powerful women in my family, I guess in some of your families as well, who have got to the topmost. However, that is not the majority, that is the minority. Our traditions and our customs hold women back. And when I read your rule about that, I was thinking, now, how does that affect our women? Ghana, case in point, but Africa, the whole of Africa. How does this affect us? Help me.
Well, I mean, you said it already. You talked about a significant proportion of the economy is actually being upheld and sustained, at least within Ghana, by women, the function of women. But the key thing is, it's not, I mean, and anytime you talk about women, people think you're jumping on the feminist
No,
bandwagon, etc.
no,
Let's actually just be real here, you know. Um, where women play multiple roles in the different facets of society. We have women positioned as the primary nurtures. I'm not saying necessarily that it should be the case, but we have them positioned as the primary nurturers of our people, you know. And as a woman is nurturing her home, she's actually nurturing and producing citizens for the future of society. It's that simple. She can either be equipped and empowered to actually do it effectively, or she can actually be undermined and therefore not be able to do it effectively. Whatever happens, the product of that role has an implication for society, and so on and so forth. You know, and the key thing is really it's a question of a number of things. We need to move away, I think, from the pigeonholing of the roles, you know, scenarios where a woman has to literally go to the market, go and sell all day. She's the only one that can come home and do all the domestic chores. She then needs to do this, she needs to do that. There needs to be some focus, you know, a different shift, a shift in the mind that says this person is playing a pivotal role within our society, and let's do everything to make that role blossom. Let's do everything to equip her for that role. So some women are very domesticated and want to stay at home. That's great. Some are very entrepreneurial. Let's push them. Some have political ambitions. Let's not stop them. Let's not. It shouldn't become so amazing that we have a woman vice presidential candidate. Really? Why should it not be the norm? Why does it have to have any um why does it defy logic? Should it surprise us? Should it become something we have to celebrate? We need to move away from that. Women, men, it's not a question about equality. I'm talking about equity, equitable use of all of our pools of skills. That's all I'm talking about. So it's not let's just push women across regardless. It's a question of let's maximize what we have in them. And if we do, logic says that we'll actually produce a better society. Because if we are actually already aiming to maximize what we have in men, and we do the same equitably for women, surely the net effect is that we have actually a raised level of mass production using everybody's skills and resources sensibly, equitably for the greater good. That's it. Nothing
yeah,
more, nothing less.
no, but women, you see, when you say that, I have an issue with that because, look, women are sometimes the breadwinners in their homes. And let's not even talk about women lawyers and doctors and professionals. Cut that out. Go into our villages, our towns, and everything else. And I know this is not just Ghana, this is across Africa. Women, there's women farmers, there are women who do all sorts of things. They are the breadwinners in their homes. And yet, a woman is still very, the word subordinate. It's supposed to be like a badge of honor for women. So really, this is not something where we should be discussing in a big way. We know it, that this happens. A woman is there, she's going through hell. And I'll give you an example, just to get people. Look, in my marriage, I work. So I buy the things, the food, etc. I do shopping, I buy bulbs, etc. to put so there's light. And an in-law came to my house and he then asked my husband, is it possible that he gave him one of these bulbs because his light bulb is not? And so then the husband goes and collects the bulb. How many do you need? And collected it and gave it to the guy. That's fine. It's okay. It's respectful. Maybe, that's the right way. And then the guy, we go somewhere and he says, oh, you know, this girl's husband, he's so good. You know, even common Bob, the woman won't buy. It's the woman who does everything. And you know, and I then understood that he comes into my house and he's asking the man. It wasn't out of respect for me. It is because he feels that everything around me is provided by the man, and therefore he asked him, and therefore he is grateful. Do you see? Now there are two
I totally
sides
see where you're coming from.
to everything, but it is an example. But this is the conditioning of a whole group of people who really, it is all wrong, and it shouldn't be like that. And I'm not saying, you know, I should be the boss, you know, I bought it, therefore you should ask me permission. But it is the way he explained it later, months later, outside of my household. And it made me realize how people actually think. Now, for women, and this program, the majority, 85% of people watching are women. And for us, they say that for a country to move forward, it's the way that the women are treated, etc., etc. What is the question really? The question is, how do women, whose mindset is being changed on such a situation? Whose mindset? Who is it affecting? That's my question.
Okay, your question is everybody's mindset. Because let's put it this way. We women have also been programmed to accept certain beliefs about our status. Those that actually are able to reorientate themselves break the mold. But the majority, even those that actually break the mold, majority of us in our homes take on those roles and responsibilities that we've been raised to believe that belongs to this. A woman does the cooking, a woman does the cleaning, a woman does the shopping, a woman does the this, a woman does the that. So in terms of the belief system that we hold about women, it's not just men holding it about women, it's women holding it about ourselves. Hence, that reorientation needs to happen, if I'm answering your question, to every one of us. It's an individual thing. The gentleman that came to your home is that basically was drawing on the belief system. The man is the breadwinner, and therefore that's that, you know, and he's the head of the home, he's the breadwinner. He's made the assumption already based on a belief system that I don't think I'll be surprising anybody that's watching this. That is something that we tend to hold in Africa, regardless of the realities that many women are actually breadwinners, etc. The fact of the matter is there is a fundamental belief system that came from our, maybe in the traditional times when they used to go to the farm, wherever the root cause is, there is a belief system that appears to be that the man holds a particular role, the woman holds a particular role, they have a particular position in society, and we subscribe to it. I mean, if you look at it, society tells you, well, if a woman is not necessarily, if she's not married, she hasn't really ultimately achieved anything. Then we subscribe to it and start bashing each other with marital status. It's a belief system. Nobody is going to come and reorientate you. We need to reorientate ourselves. That's the truth. So the short answer is everyone that holds that belief system needs to reorientate themselves. Revolutionize your mindset. Stop having a belief because of the person's, whether the person is male or female, woman or man. They are humans.
Okay.
See them as that.
Okay, so another question, and this is still with a woman, because it's the woman that I need. The mindset, look, the mindset, if men change their mindset, if men change their mindset, women would be fine. Because it is the men who...
Explain. Sorry? I would love to hear this. I said, explain. I would love to hear this.
I'm about to explain. Because it is the men who are holding on to the mindset that the few women who break that mold are then labeled, they are put in a different category, they are reviled, they are abused, and they are disliked. Now, I will give you a classic example, an easy one. There are a lot of educated women out there who, as you said, if a woman doesn't particularly want to do X and therefore wants to do something professional, let her do it. If a woman wants to do Y and doesn't know, these things are unacceptable to the man. And this man, unfortunately, is helped by these horrible, disgraceful turncoat women who help them to uphold whatever it is that the rules of engagement. And that's the problem. Now, if men relax their minds, women are ready to take on whatever it is that they want to do. Trust me, we've passed the stage of subservience. I know this, and I know there are women who want to do things. There are women doing things already. It's just not recognized. There are women who are ready to take on things outside of the home. There are women doing things outside of the home. But it's always a threat somewhere. Now, how does a mindset change? How much more change do we need to be able to get into this revolutionary position? Please help me.
I mean, what I'm hearing you say is actually, as if we go down that path, then we are ultimately ceding power to men.
No.
We're hold on. The power to revolutionize the mindsets lies within us. It's not a question of let me put it this way. I don't know the last there are a number of women's forums on Facebook, and I participate in quite a few of them. You will be amazed at how much marriage is like a badge of honor. And women it's not men coming in there and beating women with it. Women are beating each other up verbally with marital status. Now, this is not going to call for a man to come and change his mindset about whether you are worth something with or without marriage. It's for us women to reorientate and realize that marriage is just an aspect of a social aspect of life. People have a choice to be married. It's not mandatory that you have to be married. You don't have to have arrived just because you have married. I mean, you can do anything. But if you don't have Mrs. whatever attached to you, that means you have not arrived. It goes so far to the extent that people stay in very harmful marriages because they need to sustain it. We all know what happened last year I can't remember the lady's name, but she was in America. Her husband was a pastor. She was in a very relationship. He ultimately a week or so after possibly been removed from home by her brother, who actually told her to go and report to the police, etc., etc. Why? She was carrying a mindset that literally said that her badge of honor was linked to that marriage, regardless of how abusive it was. Now, we don't need men to change their minds about that. We need to change our minds. I don't want to subscribe to a position where I cede the responsibility for how I am perceived to somebody else. Let me change how I perceive myself. Then I will act in a way that actually reflects how I perceive myself. And then ultimately, with a mass change in how we perceive and hold ourselves, men will have to accept who we are. But if women are sitting across, bashing each other about, you're not married and therefore you haven't arrived, which is why we will get scenarios where men can actually exploit the single people who are desperate to be married by taking them as side chicks, that. If we keep doing that, we can't then sit back and expect them, give them their responsibility to look upon us differently. Let's change what we perceive ourselves to be. Let's act differently. Let's take our position. In the same way I'm saying Africa should not go begging at the international table. Take your position. Let's not cede power to the men. I totally agree with you. They will need to reorientate themselves. Let's force them by taking our position first.
Okay.
Then they can reorientate themselves.
Okay. Now, I am telling you that I have a solution. I have a solution to this. And
Good.
and all those people who are married, if it's a good marriage, enjoy, have a good time. But I say to women, educate yourself. Now, I'll tell you why I keep saying it. I said it last week on a show on the Bill my when I was having a rant about Bill Cosby, and I'm going to say this today. I always say, women, educate yourself. Parents, educate your daughters, because the world is shifting, it's changing. There's a shift going on. Now, in our before, in our parents' time, grandparents' time, the man was the breadwinner. And if he took you as his wife, he has raised you in society. Women, raise yourself. Raise yourself. You do not need, if you do get married, it is a companionship thing. It is a togetherness thing. It is an understanding. Do not allow a man to raise you in society. You should be able to pay your bills, buy your own Louis Vuitton bag. And I'm not saying a man shouldn't buy you a bag. I am saying then you have two or three or four. The point is, if you have that need, buy it yourself. And the minute women start thinking that way, you are going to be very happy. You're going to sleep well. Your children will be well fed, and you will do amazing things. And then we are ready to go to Africa and change it.
Yeah.
This, you were saying?
No, I totally agree with you. And I'll just add that women appreciate each other.
Exactly.
The pulling down of women is significantly done by other women.
Yes.
Let's appreciate the power we have in each other.
Yes.
Let's look at each other from a different perspective, a perspective of strength rather than rivalry. I mean, because I've said this and I'll always say it. Any collective group of people that have power, the easiest way to do it is to sow seeds of discord among them. So they sow seeds of discord among races, African tribes. We will sow seed of discord between black and white races. We will sow seed of the collective power of women is a threat. So let's sow seed of discord where, in actual fact, we see that they see each other as rivals instead of collaborators. And that's the issue. So, in addition to education ourselves, we need to reorientate how we even think about ourselves. Forget about the men. They will have to toe the line once we get it right.
Okay.
Let's just
Now,
appreciate each other.
I've got another question. So you state in your book, and you just talked about it actually, about belief systems and are
Yeah.
never truly changed unless thought and perception is backed by actions and resulting evidence. So how are we going to be, how are our actions, what actions are we going to do?
Okay. I mean, there are a number of rules in the book. So I'll think I'll pick just one that is at a very basic level that is quite doesn't take any scientific imagination to solve the problem. We have an issue, at least in Ghana. I can't speak for the rest of the continent of Africa because I haven't told the entire, but we do have an issue with sanitation, right? When people live in an environment where they think it's okay to be able to throw my rubbish wherever I want to throw it, defecate wherever I choose to defecate, and then expect some Mr. Government living somewhere to come and clear the place up, there's a problem. I mean, I'm a true believer in your environment is actually an expression of what you feel inside. No one with any level of self esteem will defecate in the same space within which they sit and cook and eat. There has to be a problem. And actually expect that somebody else to come and clear the mess. There has to be a problem. Now, for me, underlying this thing is actually the whole slavery, the slave dimension of the slavery mindset to its extreme, which is basically is led to a learned helplessness. I mean, if you can even, why can't you then go to the extent of clearing your own rubbish? but somehow the power to have my environment cleaned resides outside of myself. It's the responsibility of somebody else. We've got to a point of learned helplessness. So I'm talking about just one rule: prioritize sanitation. If every community will just come together, even with cleanup campaigns, put some bins around the place, educate people as to how to use the bins, empower all citizens to be able to police each other. Because at this point in time, there are parts in a crowd that people can literally stand there and pee, and they don't care that other citizens are standing around because nobody is policing the other. So if you want build a community such that we all have collective responsibility for cleanliness. And what I'm saying is not abstract; it's already happening. A town that was put forward as the neatest town in Ghana is called Asin Kushia. I've seen a video of the chief there being interviewed. And this is after the book. I mean, I wrote this book last year anyway, and I'm just launching it. But it's good to see the validation there. His town, kids, little children, 2 years, 3 years, so long as they can speak. If you go into the town, you drop a piece of paper, they'll pick it and they'll chase you and say, auntie or madam or brother or whatever, you dropped your piece of paper. Here's the paper. Here is the bin. They won't pick it up and go and put it in the bin for you. And there's a reason why. Because it needs to reinforce a behavior that if I pick it up and go and put it in the bin for you, you haven't taken responsibility for your action. That's all at a very basic level. If every community would just institute that, put bins around, provide proper waste disposal places for burning whatever rubbish, etc. Institute cleanup campaign days. This is nothing new. Traditionally, they used to do that. So why has that stopped? Let's bring it back at that very basic level. So what the chief has done is he's empowered everybody within that community, from the youngest to the oldest, to be able to police and make sure we all comply. Now, after you've done that for a while, you start taking pride in your environment anyway. And then, so this is why I'm saying a belief system cannot be changed in a vacuum. I can't put you down and say, okay, now you will be a neat person, you won't throw rubbish. I can't program you that way. What I can program you with is you take action. We institute projects, you take action, you see the results, you experience something different, and you think, oh, good. Actually, I didn't need to wait for Mr. Government to come and put bins here. I didn't need to wait for Mr. Government to tell me not to throw my rubbish in the gutter. Because let me put it this way. We've done the reverse before, or we keep doing the reverse, where people litter. Then when it gets to a certain point, the government may send some trucks or whatever to come and clear the place. So the problem has been solved for them on their behalf with no reorientation. What happens? Because in truth, if it was effective, you shouldn't have to go and clean the place again. But because their minds have not been reorientated, I will go back and put the rubbish there, because guess what? It will be cleared. That's my experience. Put the rubbish there, it will be cleared. So that's just at a basic level. And in the book, there are a number of rules like that basically is saying, this is where we are, this is where we want to go, and these are some of the steps we need to take. Some are a bit more strategic, some are a bit more tactical. But everything, all I'm saying is, you can't change mindset in a vacuum. The only way you can truly change mindset is really through experiential learning, the lived experience. That's the way you're going to change it. Let's change the lived experience. That's all. That's all I could say.
I think that we should get all the leaders to go for classes and a management program.
Yeah.
And that's the only way. And get Rwanda, the president of Rwanda, to stand there and tell them a few home truths. But anyway, in view of time, this book, people, as I said, it's called The Mindset Revolution.
It's Mindset Revolution 3, actually.
Revolution 3. And it's by AKOSUA Bame, B-A-M-E. And it has all sorts of rules in it. Now, When is the book coming out?
I mean, in terms of a formal launch, we have a formal launch at the end of August, but it's available now. It's available on all online stores. So it's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Amazon.co.uk and .com as well, Barnes and Noble, the various online stores. As I say, there's going to be a formal launch of the book at the end of August. It will be a virtual launch, even if we've been let out. It will still be a virtual launch, so that we can actually reach people across the continent rather than just people who are in the UK where I am based. Now, as part of the launch of the book, I will be launching a campaign, and the campaign is each one gift one. And the essence of the campaign is really that I'll be giving away 300 copies of the book, and the duty or the responsibility of those who receive that book is to read that book, there will be something there. There's something in there for everyone. You see, the great thing about it is that even though we may be talking about problems, actually there are opportunities in disguise. So if you're entrepreneurial, you could immediately see a whole array of business opportunities in fixing some of these problems that we're talking about. And so
I can tell you one. You can, women, start selling bins and sell bins to all the houses in your neighborhood. And let them start to, the name of the book is Mindset Revolution.
Okay. Yes, sir. So very quickly saying each one gift one. You get a copy. If you're good, buy a copy and gift it to somebody and spread the message that way.
How much is the book?
It ranges from £10 to £15 depending on which copy that you're buying, whether it's a paper copy or it's a hard copy. Yeah. And actually Kindle is even less. So if you have a Kindle, it's actually much less than that as well.
Well, I want to thank you. This has been, we had problems in the beginning, but somehow we have managed to come together. We've managed to have this show. I want you to come back. What we have only talked about the first 5 chapters, which are rules, the first 5 rules of the book. I wanted to ask more questions because there's somebody's talking about she believes in the stick and carrot, and it's true. Yep. She said rule 37 is let citizens set rewards for parliament and government officials. So the strange thing is, it's not stick and carrot for the citizens. It's stick and carrot for parliamentarians, the people who are supposed to be. We vote people in who do nothing for us.
Yeah.
And we've got to change it.
Yeah.
So this is actually a very good book. You don't have to read the whole book. The book is like a tool. And it is like something that you refer to.
Yeah.
Something that you look for which side appeals to you or which side is going to guide you. It is a guideline to what you want to do. My people, this is a very good book. My friends know me and they're there. Connie and all these people are on this show today and they know me. I do not read anything apart from romantic novels. I seriously. And on Netflix, I only look for rom-coms. That's all I do. That's me. I don't have time. I'm too old now to be looking to read things. You know, I kind of feel that my whole life is too busy. Things are happening. So every time I pick up a book, it's a rom-com. It's a romantic novel. It's historic. It's lovely. It's something to make me feel warm and fuzzy. Yet when I picked this book up, I could not put it down. And I was learning and I'm seeing that, I wish I knew this before. There's something called formalized mindset change, which is in Rule 25. I think women, we need to read it. It will be useful in our marriages if you are married. It will be useful if you have children growing up, especially the ones who are entering university and about the conversations you can have with them, etc. This book is for everyone, everybody. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I mean, this has been short but wonderful. There's so much we could talk
Thank
about,
you.
which we didn't. I have enjoyed your company today.
Thank
Thank you so much. I like
thank you.
I like being in the company of intelligent ladies. I mean,
So do I.
I do.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying this. I could do this all day, to be
I
honest with
could
you.
too. I
As
could
well as
too.
the people in the chat. I mean, we've got some great stuff coming from Tilewa, and it's some stuff coming from
Edith,
uh, Edith,
Constance.
Constance, quite a few people actually. In fact,
Yeah.
most of the people there, I would love to literally just sit in a room and let's just chat, you know. So yeah,
And
I am,
unfortunately,
yeah,
you know what? I am going to, and when the coronavirus things goes,
yeah,
I am going to invite you. These are my posse, my people.
yeah,
All the names you've mentioned, they are my ride or die.
yeah.
And I'm going to get
Augustina
you.
Ban as well. Augustina Ban as well.
I
Yeah.
know. Is she your classmate or?
No,
She's,
no, no. I think she's a year ahead of me.
but she's in my team, man. That's my girl.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you see, as I said to you, I have people. Me want nipa.
I can't wait. I can't wait. No, but
Oh,
yeah, I love the energy of just sharing knowledge and basically pulling each other up. That's what I do. I love that. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm holding you to it, Candy. We are definitely gonna have to have this in
Can you see?
person.
Can you see my shoulders? Me
Yeah,
want
I can
nipa.
see. I can see your shoulders.
Okay, so yeah. Thank you so much for coming, and
Thank you.
we will do this again. We have to continue with the chat.
Yeah,
We need to continue to empower our ladies. We need to
yeah,
make people feel like they can contribute. People
yeah,
shouldn't sit back.
yeah,
If you cannot can't contribute, your children can contribute.
yeah,
You've got somebody who can. You just need to keep pushing people out there, and that's
yeah,
what we're all doing.
yeah.
Thank you, my girl. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I've
Thank you
enjoyed
so
your
much.
company. Yes.
Thank you.
We
Bye,
should.
guys. And apologies for the grainy look, but bye. I enjoyed it anyway.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.